Humph, unlike you with just a high school diploma, the man I'm marrying has a college degree and is an elite.
Back in high school, there was this beautiful classmate I had become distant from due to certain circumstances. Years later, I was invited to a wedding by a junior, only to bump into that same classmate. She probably thought I was just a high school graduate working a regular job, as she immediately made that snide comment upon our reunion.
He might become your boss very soon.
She still had that condescending attitude toward me, just like before, so I decided to drop a truth bomb on her. Sorry to burst your bubble, but I just fired him. She stared at me, eyes wide open, and then something unbelievable happened. My name is Ray Johnson. I was raised in an extremely average household, neither rich nor poor. I grew up in a typical family with my parents and younger sister. Like many kids, I loved superhero shows and grew up aspiring to be like those heroes. I always thought they looked cool helping people in trouble, and that's why I was always there to lend a helping hand. I believe that made me someone my classmates could rely on. I had been close with a girl named Emily, who lived next door since we were kids. Because we were in the same grade, we played together a lot. Our families even got along well, and it wasn't unusual for our families to go on vacations together. Her family was way wealthier than mine, with her dad running a business and her mom being a stay-at-home mom. But they were both so down to earth, always telling me, "Ray, feel free to come over anytime." Given that both my parents worked, there were times when I'd hang out at Emily's house until my parents got back, sometimes even having dinner there. I think her parents really loved having us around. We went through elementary and middle school together and ended up at the same high school. I enjoyed high school life surrounded by like-minded friends. As for Emily, she made her debut as a model. Being close friends since childhood, I never really noticed, but she was incredibly beautiful. Apparently, she got scouted a lot when she walked around town. There were even rumors that her photos were being sold at high prices both inside and outside school. With her modeling career taking off, she became popular almost overnight. Since her debut, she seemed to miss school a lot, probably because she was busy. I think we were both busy at that time, as I had joined the student council and was also working as an officer. Sometimes I see her coming to school, but she is surrounded by so many people that I can't talk to her. But we lived right next to each other, so I figured we could always meet if we wanted to. One day I was called by a female student.
Ray, would you like to go on a date with me sometime?
It was a classmate named Amanda. It was the first time someone had ever asked me out on a date, and I was puzzled. Amanda was someone I occasionally talked to in class, so it never occurred to me that she liked me.
Yeah, if you're okay with it, I want you to have this.
She held out a small paper bag. When I looked inside, there was a beautifully wrapped package. Can I open it?
Yes, but they're homemade, so they might not be that great.
Inside was a box of truffles. Are these truffles? You made them, Amanda. That's impressive.
Thank you.
As she shyly expressed her gratitude, I felt the need to thank her too. I haven't really known much about you till now. Is that okay?
Yes. I'd be happy if you'd get to know me better from now on.
With her face all red, she said that, and I genuinely found her cute. So, I started dating her. Being involved in the student council, and not to toot my own horn, I was pretty well known throughout the school. The fact that I had a girlfriend soon became a rumor, and people from all walks of life teased me saying, "You finally have a girlfriend." That's when I spotted Emily in the school. I hadn't seen her maybe in about 2 weeks. "Hey, Emily, it's been a while."
Yes, it has.
I called out to her, but her response was pretty cold. I didn't know how to react to this sudden cold attitude. I'd never seen her behave this way towards me. "Hey, is something bothering you?"
No, not at all.
With that, she walked away. Usually, she'd say, "Ray, long time no see," and we'd chat a bit. Maybe she was just in a bad mood. She seemed busy lately. I tried to reassure myself and headed to the student council room. Later on, rumors circulated that Emily was bullying Amanda. I didn't see it with my own eyes, but when I asked Amanda, she just gave me a vague smile. Does that reaction mean the rumors might be true? I figured if this was the case, I had to tell Emily to stop. I decided the next time I saw her, I'd talk to her. That day came sooner than expected, and I quickly ran into Emily at school. "Emily, can we talk for a minute?"
What is it?
I took her to a quiet corner in the hallway and faced her. She looked at me with an annoyed expression. "Emily, are you bullying Amanda?"
What are you talking about?
"I've heard rumors that you're giving her a hard time. If it's true, please stop."
You think I would do something like that?
"I don't think you would, but if you're doing something that leads to such misunderstandings."
I haven't done anything.
"I thought so, but lately, you've been acting differently towards me."
Ray, you don't get it.
"What do you mean?"
You've known me forever, but you choose to believe such rumors over me. Think whatever you want.
"What's that supposed to mean?" With that, she turned her back on me and ran off. Since then, Emily and I no longer spoke to each other when we saw each other. Things between us became really tense. Dad's in debt. One day, out of the blue, my dad ended up in a lot of debt.
It seems one of my friends took off in the night. I had co-signed a loan, and now they're coming after us for the money.
Looking at my distraught dad, I didn't know what to say. No wonder he'd been coming home so late recently. Apparently, he's been working night shifts at a convenience store after his day job. My mom was also working a day job at an office, and at night, she was waitressing at a bar. At first, our parents were trying to pay off the debt by hiding it from my sis but when we saw that they were coming home late and getting tired day by day, we asked them to tell us what was going on. And so, they finally decided to tell us. "I'll get a job too." I immediately said without hesitation. I couldn't let my folks struggle any more than they already have.
But Ray, you need to study.
Right now, this matter is more important than studying. We should all pitch in and repay the debt quickly.
I'll work part-time too.
My younger sis chimed in, but we all objected since it wasn't really feasible for a middle schooler to work.
Fine. Then I'll get a part-time job as soon as I get into high school.
Hearing the determination in her voice made both my parents and me teary-eyed.
I'm truly sorry for being such a burden, such a disappointing dad.
It's not your fault. We'll work together and pull through this.
That's right. We'll all work together. With that, we hugged and cheered each other on. In hindsight, the mood was oddly elevated. That's when I made up my mind. I wanted to be someone who could help people in times of need, so I decided to become a lawyer. The next day, I found a part-time job. Between school, the student council, and work, my days became hectic. As I spent my time working part-time on my days off, the time I spent with Amanda dwindled. I felt guilty, but repaying the debt was my top priority at the time. I texted Amanda saying, "Right now, there's something I need to prioritize over our time together." She replied, "I understand. Thank you for everything until now." That's how we chose to go our separate ways. Time flew by, and before I knew it, I was about to enter the summer of my senior year in high school. It was time to seriously consider which colleges to apply to. But I was torn. Ever since that day, I'd wanted to be a lawyer, but my dad's debt was still looming. If I enroll in college now, can I juggle studying, working, and repaying the debt? Should I even go to college next year? Honestly, I can always enroll in college later. Maybe I should first get a job after high school, repay the debt, and then consider college. That's it, I'll look for a job. The next day, I decided to discuss my plan with the school counselor. I laid everything out and told them I wanted to work right after high school.
I understand. I'll help you find the best job opportunity. Let's do our best.
That same day, I explained my decision to my parents, who supported my choice. My parents, especially my dad, said, "I'm so sorry, but this truly helps, thank you." Very few people from our high school got a job, and there were only 3 people, including me, at the on-campus seminar for job applicants.
Ray, you're looking for a job. What's up with that?
My classmate, James, asked me. He was also job hunting. I had my reasons, I said vaguely. I had no intention of disclosing my family's financial troubles. That day, after finishing my shift at my part-time job and getting home quite late, someone shouted, "Ray," outside my house. It was Emily, seemingly having rushed out of her own home, wearing something that looked like pajamas. Emily, what are you doing out here dressed like that?"
Is it true that you're not going to college? You're getting a job right after high school?
Yay, I've decided not to go to college for now and to work instead.
Why are you giving up on college?
I'm not exactly giving up. Right now, working is just. Before I could finish, she cut in. If you just graduate from high school and work, you won't earn as much as college graduates, right?
With your grades, Ray, you could even aim for a state college or even get a scholarship. Why'd you decide on working so easily? Are you running away from the college entrance exams?
Her words irked me. It wasn't a decision I made lightly. I agonized over it. I wasn't running away from anything. I still planned to attend college later. I felt job hunting was just as challenging as college applications. I didn't decide on this lightly, Emily. I've been really torn about it. Plus, it's really none of your business. My response, a tad dismissive, seemed to hurt her.
Right? It was never my business.
She yelled, "I don't care anymore," before storming back to her house. From there, my job search went smoothly, and I secured a position at a local company. On the other hand, Emily made headlines again by getting into an Ivy League college and was being talked about as the brilliant beauty model who aced her Ivy League entrance exams. 10 years flew by, and after various experiences, I successfully became a lawyer and now run my own office. Finally, that big case is over. I had just returned to the office after finishing a particularly tough job. I'm back.
Boss, how was your day?
Fine, Andrew. You're always so upbeat. The one greeting me with enthusiasm was Andrew Sanders. When I set up my law firm, he had eagerly asked, "Ray, please let me join. I want to work under you." He's a bright and cheerful guy who looks up to me, so I'm quite fond of him.
Boss, can I have a moment?
While organizing some documents, he, looking more serious than usual, approached me. Whenever he's like this, it usually means he's either broken something or upset a client. What happened? Did you break a vase again? Or upset a client? How many times have I told you not to address older clients as Grandpa?
It's not that. Although he did say he never wants to see me again because of my attitude.
Sighing, I waited for him to continue.
Well, the thing is, I'm getting married.
He announced bashfully. Whoa. Congratulations. I genuinely hadn't expected him to be getting married before me. In fact, I was quite envious since I haven't had a girlfriend in almost a decade. That's the slightly older model you mentioned, right? You said she was really beautiful.
Yes, she's a former model and also the daughter of a CEO. We're planning a big wedding, and I'm hoping to invite you to my wedding.
Of course, I'd love to be a part of it. I patted his shoulder, feeling excited for him. I had known he was dating someone and he'd mentioned, "She's out of my league, and I'm trying my best to hold on to her." I'm not one to pry into private matters, so I had just commented, "Well, sounds tough," and left it at that. That evening, I took him to a local bar as a treat to celebrate his upcoming wedding. About 6 months later, today is his wedding, and I have a surprise realization. That's what I learned when I received the invitation from him, that his marriage partner is an acquaintance of mine. As I was making my way through the wedding venue, I bumped into the bride.
Ray, it was you. I knew it.
Emily. His bride was none other than Emily, my childhood friend. When he handed me the wedding invitation and I saw the bride's name, I was taken aback. Come to think of it, he mentioned she is a former model and a CEO's daughter.
When Andrew told me the name of his boss, I was really surprised to hear a familiar name.
Same here. We haven't spoken or seen each other since that day 10 years ago when she criticized me for deciding not to go to college. We had lost touch entirely.
By the way, Ray, are you a liar now since you're his boss?
Yay, I am.
How did a high school dropout like you become a lawyer? You aren't just bluffing, right? Did you pay your way to get your license or something?
I passed the exam fair and square. I have my own law firm now, and Andrew works there. It'd be weird if I, being the boss, didn't have a law license, right? She seemed skeptical.
Unlike you, who just graduated from high school, my soon-to-be husband Andrew is an Ivy League law school graduate and a real elite. I bet he'll be the head of your firm soon.
She said, looking down on me. I decided to let her in on some information. Sorry to break it to you, but I just fired him from my firm. She was left speechless.
What?
And since you two haven't officially registered your marriage, maybe you should reconsider. I decided to leave her standing there in shock and return to the venue. I heard Emily, who retired from modeling, is now working as a secretary in her parents' company. But many of her acquaintances from her modeling days were present, making the wedding quite the event. The wedding ceremony went off without a hitch, and Emily and Andrew exchanged vows before God. Emily looked stunning in her wedding dress, and Andrew was dashing in his white tuxedo. With the wedding ceremony concluded, it was time for the reception. However, as I sat in the reception hall, it didn't seem to be starting. Even though the scheduled time had passed, there began to be whispers among the invited guests as to what was going on. It was then that Emily's dad took the microphone, a man I knew well.
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the sudden news, but due to unforeseen circumstances, we have to cancel today's reception. I deeply apologize for the inconvenience, especially to those who came from afar. Please feel free to enjoy the meal provided.
He quickly delivered the news and then hastily exited the venue. This unexpected cancellation caused a stir among the attendees, turning the hall into quite a scene. I discreetly slipped out into the hallway. "Excuse me."
Great.
There stood Emily's dad, looking completely drained. "Andrew got arrested, didn't he?" He nodded in response to my question. Andrew had been illicitly withdrawing extra money from client accounts for personal use. The tip-off came from the family of one of the clients he was managing. He was in charge of several adult guardianships for elderly people who had no relatives. However, the family of the person he thought had no relatives showed up and offered to manage the person's finances. However, when the family, suspicious of Andrew's panicked state, checked with the bank, they found that the balance was clearly out of whack. The person had been hospitalized several times, and $7,000 were deducted each time as hospitalization expenses. Andrew, as adult guardian, was paying the hospital for it. I was familiar with the hospital costs, and $7,000 seemed unusually high. When the family approached me with their concerns, I was unaware of his doings. I was embarrassed to admit I had no clue about the entire situation. Upon investigating, I discovered he had been doing the same thing with 5 other clients, all of whom were under his guardianship. Confronted with the evidence, he confessed to everything.
Yes, I did it.
I'd like to know why.
I was buying luxury items for my girlfriend and gambling.
You couldn't live off the salary we paid you.
I could, but I wanted to keep her happy with gifts.
Unable to respond to his admission that his girlfriend was too good for him, I remained silent. This revelation came about just a week before the wedding. I immediately took disciplinary action against him, reached out to the affected parties to explain the situation and offer apologies. While I initially reimbursed the victims from my own pocket, a relative who couldn't forgive Andrew's actions filed a formal complaint. The complaint was accepted, and his arrest was scheduled right before today's reception. The reception was, of course, canceled and changed to just a dinner gathering. The engagement was as if it never happened. Andrew's parents, Emily, and her parents were clearly in shock and devastated. I didn't know what to say or do, so I just stood there. Later on, the incident became massive news as the crooked lawyer exploiting the legal guardianship system. Andrew, naturally, had his legal license revoked. Being a staff member of my firm, this had a significant impact on us. Still, I chose to support the victims and address the situation earnestly. Because of that, my reputation didn't suffer much.
I had no idea he was involved in something like this.
Neither did I. I was completely in the dark. A few days after the wedding, Emily visited my office. She held a bag filled with a significant amount of money. She handed it over to me. "Why are you giving me so much money?" Seeing the astonished look on my face, she hesitated before explaining,
"This is from selling all the luxury items Andrew bought me. They didn't sell for the original prices, of course, but it's still a decent amount. Plus, he bought them with money taken from those victims, right? I want to pay back at least what I received."
"All right, I'll accept it on their behalf." With those words, I took the bag, understanding her feelings.
"Can you tell the victims I'm truly sorry about what he did?"
"Yeah, I'll be meeting them for work soon. I'll let them know."
"By the way, how did you become a lawyer even though you only have a high school diploma?"
Well, here's the story. I began to tell her about the period during which we had lost touch. I believed that I could always attend college later, so I chose to work after high school. However, I knew I needed to study to become a lawyer. I decided to work and take online classes at the college to earn my degree. After earning my degree, I studied hard while working for a company and completed my LLM courses, also online. From there, I literally studied as hard as I could to sleep, took the bar exam, and received a pass. I think I could say for myself that I studied in law school while working, passed the bar exam, and was well on my way to becoming the lawyer I had always dreamed of. I then landed a job at a major law firm, marking the beginning of my career as a lawyer. By then, my dad's debt had reduced significantly, and thanks to the collective efforts of our entire family, we managed to pay it all off. I even claimed back overpaid funds.
So that's what Andrew meant when he said you're a wonder star lawyer who became a lawyer at an incredible speed.
She nodded in realization after hearing my story. I first met him at the law firm where I started working. We were close in age, so we often worked together. He would always say with a smile, "I dream of working as efficiently as you, Ray. I want to be a lawyer just like you." Remembering his enthusiastic remarks, I felt a pang of sadness. The reason he had such a problem this time was because he pushed himself so hard to be in balance with Emily that he couldn't turn his head. "It seems I really wasn't good enough for her," Andrew had remarked, a rueful smile touching his lips. The memory of that pained expression stayed with me. Since then, Emily and I began communicating more and occasionally went out for dinner. Mostly, we talked about our recent lives or reminisced about our high school days.
"I had no idea your dad became a guarantor for a loan. If you told me, maybe my dad could have helped out."
I couldn't possibly tell him about that. Even if they had lent the money, I'd have made sure to pay them back in full.
"Yeah, you're right. Your parents were really upright people."
She said with a smile.
"You know, Ray, I became a model because of something you once told me."
"What?"
"Do you remember the fashion show during our high school festival? The one where I wore an outfit created by the fashion department. Seeing me in that, you said to me, Emily, you really look like a model. It suits you so well. I bet you'd fit right into that glitzy world. That's when I thought maybe I should try becoming a model.
I don't remember saying that at all. I didn't mention this, but I suspect she might have realized it.
By the way, the rumor in high school about me bullying your girlfriend was a lie.
Oh yay, I remember that. So it was false after all.
In reality, that girlfriend of yours, Amanda, was it? She spread the lie that I was the one bullying her.
What? Seriously, this revelation shocked me. Because I'd never thought she would do such a thing.
I heard later that she spread that rumor because she was worried I'd steal you away from her since I was your childhood friend. Besides, I was so busy with work back then and hardly at school. How could I have even had the time to bully her that much?
Thinking about it, it made sense. Geez, women can be so scary.
The hardest part was feeling you didn't trust me back then.
I immediately apologized. I'm sorry about that, and she reassured me, saying, it's all in the past now. Our relationship grew stronger, and soon it felt like the old days. Eventually, our friendship naturally blossomed into a romantic relationship, and now we live together. Given our strong personalities, we argue quite often, but our relationship is better than ever. And today is Emily's birthday. I've planned a surprise proposal for her. After having dinner at a restaurant with a beautiful night view, we decided to stay at a hotel. I entered our room holding a bouquet of 12 roses while Emily waited outside. The 12 roses symbolize, will you marry me? Though I thought the gesture might be a bit too much. A dress is placed in the room as a gift to Emily in advance, and a message is left for her to wear it. Hoping she'd change into the dress, I nervously reached the room's door. When I knocked and entered, there she was, beautifully dressed in the dress I'd gifted her.
Ray, thank you for the dress. It's just my style.
I'm glad you like it. I have another gift for you.
Really? What is it?
I presented the bouquet of roses to her and expressed my feelings. Emily, will you marry me? With tears in her eyes, she replied, yes, I'd love to. I couldn't help but think, if I'd only believed her back then and been honest about my decision to work because of my dad's debt, perhaps we wouldn't have taken such a roundabout path to get here. But then again, if those events hadn't occurred, I might not have pursued my dream of becoming a lawyer. There's also a nagging thought that Andrew might not have done what he did if I hadn't become a lawyer. He'd always looked up to me. However, it's pointless to dwell on the past, and I understand that. I don't know what the future holds, but I now want to trust my wife Emily, combine our strengths, and move forward together.